At first glance, the world of the teacher appears perfectly ordinary, a suburban high school bustling with students and teachers, each going about their daily routines. But beneath this calm exterior, something sinister is brewing. The story wastes no time in hinting that appearances can be deceiving, setting the stage for a psychological thriller that will challenge everything we think we know about trust, power, and the darkness that can hide behind familiar faces. Eve Bennett is a dedicated math teacher, respected by her peers and loved by her students. She's the kind of educator who goes the extra mile, always looking out for those who might be struggling. But lately, Eve has felt a growing sense of unease in her personal life. Her marriage to Nate, who also teaches at the school, seems to be shifting in subtle, unsettling ways. Eve's intuition tells her that something is off, but she can't quite put her finger on it. Nate Bennett, Eve's husband, is also a teacher at the same school. Once warm and attentive, Nate has become distant and distracted. He spends longer hours at work and seems preoccupied even when he's home. Eve tries to reach out, but Nate's responses are vague, and his affection has cooled. The emotional gap between them widens, leaving Eve feeling isolated and anxious about the state of their relationship. Addie Severson, a student with a troubled past, returns to school after a scandal that left her reputation in tatters. She's met with cold stares and whispers, her classmates quick to judge and slow to forgive. Isolated and vulnerable, Addie struggles to find her footing in an environment that feels hostile and unforgiving. Her return marks the beginning of a dangerous chain of events that will soon engulf everyone involved. As Addie tries to reintegrate, she becomes the target of relentless bullying. Her classmates, still fixated on her past, exclude her from social circles and spread cruel rumors. The emotional toll is immense, and Addie's sense of self-worth begins to erode. The school's corridors, once a place of learning, become a battleground where Addie must fight just to get through each day. Nate notices Addie's struggles and begins to offer her support. At first, his actions seem compassionate. He checks in on her, offers advice, and tries to help her navigate the challenges she faces. But as time goes on, Nate's attention becomes more intense and personal, blurring the boundaries between teacher and student. What starts as mentorship soon takes on a darker, more troubling tone. Nate's involvement with Addie begins to cross emotional and ethical lines. He confides in her about personal matters, spends time with her outside of class, and becomes a constant presence in her life. Addie, desperate for acceptance and guidance, is drawn in by Nate's attention. But the power imbalance is clear, and Nate's actions become increasingly manipulative. Eve begins to notice Nate's unusual behavior. He's secretive about his schedule, often texting late at night and making excuses for his absences. Eve's instincts tell her that something is wrong, but every time she tries to confront Nate, he deflects or becomes defensive. The tension in their marriage grows, and Eve is left feeling more alone than ever. Addie finds herself increasingly confused by Nate's attention. She's grateful for his support but senses that something isn't right. Nate's influence over her grows, and she begins to question her own feelings and perceptions. The line between right and wrong blurs, leaving Addie vulnerable to manipulation and emotional turmoil. Eve starts to uncover subtle signs that Nate is hiding something serious. She finds unexplained receipts, overhears fragments of conversations, and notices changes in Nate's demeanor. Each clue adds to her growing sense of dread, but the truth remains just out of reach. Eve's determination to get to the bottom of things only intensifies. The atmosphere at school grows increasingly tense. Rumors swirl, and the relationships between teachers and students become strained. Eve feels the pressure mounting, both at home and at work. The sense of impending crisis is palpable, as if everyone is holding their breath, waiting for something to break. Nate's manipulation of Addie becomes more overt. He isolates her from her peers, convincing her that he's the only one who truly understands her. Addie's world narrows, and she becomes increasingly dependent on Nate for emotional support. The psychological grip he has on her tightens, setting the stage for tragedy. Driven by suspicion, Eve begins to investigate Nate's activities more closely. She checks his phone, follows his movements, and pieces together the fragments of evidence she's collected. The more she uncovers, the more alarmed she becomes. Eve realizes that the truth is far darker than she ever imagined. The tension finally erupts when Eve catches Nate and Addie together. The confrontation is explosive, with accusations flying and secrets laid bare. Eve is horrified by what she witnesses, and Addie is left shaken and confused. The truth about Nate's predatory behavior is finally exposed, but the fallout is only just beginning. Emotionally manipulated and unstable, Addie lashes out in the aftermath of the confrontation. She's torn between loyalty to Nate and the horror of what's been revealed. The psychological trauma she's endured pushes her to the brink, and her actions become unpredictable and dangerous. Under Nate's influence, Addie attacks Eve in a horrifying scene. The violence is sudden and shocking, leaving Eve gravely injured. The attack marks the darkest point in the story, as the consequences of manipulation and betrayal come to a head. Eve's fate hangs in the balance, and the true cost of Nate's actions is laid bare. Despite her injuries, Eve survives the attack. She wakes in a hospital, disoriented but determined to remember what happened. As she slowly recovers, fragments of memory return, and she begins to piece together the events that led to her near-death experience. Eve's resilience becomes a driving force as she seeks justice. As Eve recovers, she becomes obsessed with uncovering the full truth. She retraces her steps, interviews those involved, and gathers evidence. Each new discovery brings her closer to understanding the extent of Nate's manipulation and the role Addie played. The process is painful, but Eve's determination never wavers. With mounting evidence, Eve begins to turn the tables on Nate. She gathers allies, including colleagues and law enforcement, and starts building a case. Nate, once confident and in control, finds himself increasingly cornered. The power dynamic shifts, and the predator becomes the hunted. Eve bravely exposes Nate's actions to the school and authorities. The revelation sends shockwaves through the community, forcing everyone to confront the reality of what's happened. Nate's carefully constructed facade crumbles, and the true extent of his abuse of power is revealed for all to see. With the truth out in the open, Nate is forced to face the consequences of his actions. He's suspended from his position, investigated by authorities, and ostracized by the community. The once respected teacher is now a pariah, his reputation destroyed by his own choices. Addie is left to grapple with the aftermath of Nate's manipulation. She struggles with guilt, shame, and confusion, but also begins to see a path toward healing. With support from counselors and friends, Addie starts to rebuild her life, determined not to let her past define her future. Eve emerges from the ordeal stronger and more determined than ever. She channels her pain into advocacy, working to raise awareness about abuse of power and the importance of speaking out. Eve's courage inspires others, and she becomes a symbol of resilience and hope. The school community is rocked by the revelations. Teachers, students, and parents are forced to confront uncomfortable truths about trust and responsibility. The incident sparks difficult conversations and prompts changes in school policies to better protect students in the future. The teacher explores the theme of power, how easily it can be abused, and the devastating consequences that follow. Nate's actions serve as a stark reminder that those in positions of authority must be held accountable. The story challenges us to question who we trust and why. Manipulation is at the heart of the novel's psychological tension. Nate's ability to twist reality and control those around him is chilling. The story delves into the subtle ways manipulation can occur, often going unnoticed until it's too late. It's a powerful reminder to trust our instincts and look out for warning signs. The novel highlights the courage it takes to speak out against wrongdoing. Eve's journey is one of bravery. She risks everything to expose the truth and protect others. Her actions show that even in the darkest moments, standing up for what's right can make all the difference. The Teacher is more than just a thriller. It's a deep exploration of the human psyche. The characters' motivations, fears, and vulnerabilities are laid bare, creating a story that is as emotionally resonant as it is suspenseful. The psychological depth adds layers of complexity to every twist and turn. From the very first page, The Teacher maintains a fast pace that keeps readers on edge. Each chapter ends with a new revelation or cliffhanger, driving the story forward. The suspense is relentless, making it impossible to look away as the web of secrets unravels. The novel is packed with shocking twists that upend expectations. Just when you think you know what's coming, the story takes a sharp turn. These surprises keep the tension high and ensure that the reader is always guessing, right up to the final pages. Betrayal is a recurring theme throughout The Teacher. Whether it's Nate's betrayal of Eve, Addie's betrayal by those she trusted, or the school's failure to protect its students, the novel explores the devastating impact of broken trust. These betrayals drive the characters' actions and shape the story's emotional core. Addie's experience highlights the dangers of isolation and vulnerability. Cut off from her peers and manipulated by Nate, she becomes easy prey. The novel shows how predators exploit these weaknesses and why it's so important to foster supportive, inclusive environments. The Teacher also examines the role of bystanders, those who witness wrongdoing but fail to act. The silence of Addie's classmates and colleagues allows Nate's abuse to continue unchecked. The story challenges us to consider our own responsibility when we see signs of trouble. Silence can be just as damaging as active wrongdoing. The novel shows how the refusal to speak up enables abuse and perpetuates harm. It's a powerful call to action, urging us to break the silence and stand up for those who cannot defend themselves. Despite the darkness, the teacher offers hope for healing and recovery. Both Eve and Addie find ways to move forward, supported by those who care about them. The journey is difficult, but the novel emphasizes that recovery is possible, even after the deepest wounds. The importance of support systems is a key message in the novel. Friends, counselors, and advocates play a crucial role in helping victims rebuild their lives. The teacher reminds us that no one should have to face trauma alone, and that compassion can make all the difference. Justice is ultimately served in the teacher, but not without struggle. The novel underscores the importance of holding abusers accountable and ensuring that victims are heard. It's a reminder that justice is not always easy, but it is essential for healing and closure. The teacher leaves us with important lessons about vigilance, empathy, and the need to challenge abuses of power. It encourages us to look beyond appearances, trust our instincts, and support those who are vulnerable. The story's impact lingers long after the final page. Truth is a powerful weapon in the fight against abuse. Eve's determination to uncover and share the truth is what ultimately brings Nate to justice. The novel celebrates the courage it takes to speak out, even when the odds are stacked against you. The emotional impact of the teacher is profound. Readers are drawn into the characters' struggles, feeling their pain, fear, and hope. The novel's raw honesty and psychological insight make it a compelling and unforgettable read. The teacher serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers that can lurk behind ordinary lives. It warns us to be vigilant, to question what we see, and to never underestimate the potential for darkness in even the most familiar settings. Empathy is a recurring theme in the novel. By understanding the pain and struggles of others, we can help prevent abuse and support healing. The teacher encourages us to listen, believe, and stand with those who need our help. Secrets are at the heart of the teacher's suspense. The novel shows how keeping secrets can destroy relationships, erode trust, and lead to tragedy. It's a powerful reminder that honesty, though difficult, is always the better path. In the aftermath, both Eve and Addie find ways to move forward. Their journeys are marked by pain, but also by hope and the promise of new beginnings. The teacher ends on a note of resilience, showing that even after the darkest storms, healing and growth are possible. The Teacher is a gripping psychological thriller that leaves a lasting impression. Its blend of suspense, emotional depth, and social commentary makes it a must-read for anyone interested in the complexities of human nature. As the story closes, we're left reflecting on the importance of truth, courage, and the enduring strength of the human spirit.